Hey everybody, it's Ron from Pick Dawgz, and this is Ron's Rundown. We're going to go over the MLB games scheduled for Sunday, June 5th, 2022. Now, if you like what you see, make sure to give this video a big thumbs up and subscribe to our channel. And don't forget to leave your baseball picks in the comments section below. If you're looking for my best bets, you can find those at the Premium Picks tab at Pickdawgz.com. I'm running a daily $15 MLB best bet, so check it out at Pick Dawgz Premium. Alrighty, here we go. Here are the games for Sunday, June 5th. First up, we see the Detroit Tigers taking on the New York Yankees. This is going to be an early start time at 11:35 a.m. This is going to be a game televised on Peacock. Now we're going to see Ronnie Garcia and Jordan Montgomery as the starters here. You know, the Yankees are going to be big favorites yet again in this spot, but I don't think there's any argument here. I think the Yankees are the best team in baseball right now, and the Tigers are really struggling offensively to even try to compete in this series. We saw the game one of the series was a blowout win for the Yankees. Game 2 wasn't as much so, but still a 3-0 very comfortable win. The Yankees took the lead in the first inning in that one and didn't look back. Tigers offense just not getting it done. One of the worst road teams in baseball this season, while the Yankees one of the best home teams in baseball. You know, Jordan Montgomery gives them solid innings each and every time he's on the mound, and Ronnie Garcia has given up a home run in each of his last 4 starts. You know, strikeouts are there for him, but gives up a lot of hard contact, and we saw last time out giving up 7 hits, 6 earned runs, and a homer to the Twins. Yankees are just playing too good a baseball for me to pass them in this spot. I'm going to take the Yankees on the run line. Next up, we see the Los Angeles Angels taking on the Philadelphia Phillies. Patrick Sandoval and Kyle Gibson are your starters here. Now, I've mentioned that I thought Patrick Sandoval was a pitcher I was really optimistic about going into the 2022 season, and he's delivered for the Angels this season. 2.7 ERA, 42 Ks and 43 in the third innings isn't too bad, but I am a little bit concerned with the way he's pitching as of late, especially in his last outing against the Blue Jays, where he only made it through 3 innings, giving up 5 hits, 6 runs, 5 of those were earned, and 3 walks against Toronto. That was an 11-10 final score in the Blue Jays' favor. And the Phillies, they hit lefties really well this season. They're ranked 5th in baseball in team OPS against left-handed pitching this year, and 3rd in baseball in isolated power against left-handed pitching. You know, I've mentioned that I do think that the decision to fire Joe Girardi was the right decision for this organization. You look at their record, they're not too far out from the playoff race in the National League. You know, it's still really early in the season, and these are the type of home games going up against an Angels team that's struggling as of late that you got to pick up. And Kyle Gibson has been good enough on the mound for me to take a chance with the Phillies at such a good price. So I'm going to take Philadelphia on the money line. Next up, we see the Arizona Diamondbacks taking on the Pittsburgh Pirates. We're going to see Zach Gallen and Zach Thompson as the starters for this one. Now, Zach Gallen has struggled a little bit as of late, giving up a home run in each of his last 2 starts. He was pretty sharp last time out, though. 5 2/3 innings, 2-run ball against the Atlanta Braves with 6 strikeouts, and that was a 6-2 Diamondbacks win. And in the last 5 starts that Gallen has made, 4 of those games the Diamondbacks were able to win outright. And Arizona really lately has been really strong against right-handed pitching. When you look at their numbers since May 13th, the team OPS numbers, they're 4th in baseball against right-handed pitching, the Diamondbacks are, and they're actually number 1 in baseball in isolated power against right-handed pitching since May 13th. So the lineup is getting it done. Zach Gallen has been able to win ball games for Arizona with that 4-0 record, and Zach Thompson really inconsistent this season. I've mentioned that I was really optimistic about him going into the season as well, but he has not pitched well. 6.98 Ks per 9 is way down from last season. The walks are up, the home runs are way up as well. So a 5.18 ERA and a 5.07 FIP. I'm going to take the Diamondbacks here on the road as the road favorite. Next up, we see the Cleveland Guardians taking on the Baltimore Orioles. Now, we don't see an official starter listed for the Orioles quite yet, but we should see Zach Plesac as a starter for the Guardians. And for that reason, I think I'm going to lean towards the over, and I also think there's going to be some value on the home team in the Orioles. You know, Zach Plesac is a guy I've faded all season long, and he's given up at least 1 home run in his last 5 starts, giving up a lot of home runs this season already, 8 allowed. Strikeout numbers for him are really down, 33 Ks in 49 innings of work this season. It's not going to get it done. The Orioles have hit righties a lot better than they have hit lefties, and the Orioles also play a lot better at home than they do on the road. I'm going to take the Orioles here on the money line. Like I said, I'm going to lean towards the over as well. Next up, we see the Toronto Blue Jays taking on the Minnesota Twins. We're going to see Devin Smeltzer and Kevin Gausman as the starters for this one. Now, I'm not crazy about this game overall, and a lot of that stems from the fact that I wasn't impressed with Kevin Gausman the last time he was on the mound. There's no doubting that he's off to a great season for Toronto, but it looked to me that he was tipping his pitches in his last outing against a White Sox lineup that really had not done much against right-handed pitching all season long. All of a sudden, in the middle innings of that game, Gausman was really struggling to get any outs. He ended his line with 5 innings of 6-hit ball, 3 earned runs, and a home run in that one. Gausman's the type of guy that doesn't give up a lot of home runs at all, and to see him get hit early and often in that game, a little bit concerning. And with the way the Twins lineup has done lately, and especially with Byron Buxton starting to get going now as well, to me there's just a lot of value on Minnesota, and I'm not a big Devin Smeltzer guy. He doesn't strike out a lot of batters, so right off the bat, something that I worry about. Only 12 Ks and 24 innings of work, but doesn't give up a lot of home runs, doesn't walk a ton of batters either, and he's been pitching well overall this season for the Twins. So I think the value's on Minnesota here just because of the price that you would have to lay with Toronto. I'm not willing to do that with Gausman, especially with the way he looked last time out. Give me the Twins here on the money line, getting a ton of plus money in this spot. Next up, we see the Chicago White Sox taking on the Tampa Bay Rays. Now, we don't see an official lineup for this game quite yet, but we should see Lucas Giolito and Ryan Yarbrough as the projected starters. And, Lucas Giolito struggled quite a bit last time on the mound for the White Sox. He gave up 8 base hits, 6 earned runs, and 2 homers against the Blue Jays. He did manage to have 8 strikeouts. Lately in this season, and as of late especially, Giolito's had issues with the home run ball, giving up a home run in 4 of his last 5 starts. But this is a tough game for me because I know the White Sox crush left-handed pitching. They prefer it a lot more than righties, and they're seeing a lefty in Ryan Yarbrough that's been pretty inconsistent in 2022. Had a rough start to the season, was able to sharpen things up, but as of late, still not pitching too well. Last time he went 6 2/3 innings, so he pitched deep into the game, but he gave up 3 earned runs and 2 homers to the Texas Rangers with only 3 strikeouts. The Rangers, another team that hits lefties pretty well. But to me, the value's on Chicago here with Giolito. He's their best option on the mound, in my opinion, even more than Dylan Cease. And with the White Sox facing a lefty, I think this is a good spot for him to grab a road victory, but not a game I'm rushing to play. In our next game, we see the San Francisco Giants taking on the Miami Marlins. Now we're going to see Jakob Yunis going up against Braxton Jarrett in this spot. Now, Braxton Jarrett, a big-time pitching prospect for the Marlins, and he's had some work in the major leagues last season. He pitched 10 games, 41 2/3 innings last season. This will be his 2022 debut, Last year, 5.18 ERA. Didn't pitch too well for the Marlins, but still very young, 24 years of age. And I do think the value is with the home team here with Jakob Yunis on the mound. We know the Marlins hit right-handed pitching really well this season. Jakob Yunis, a guy that gives up a good amount of home runs, at least 1 homer in 4 of his last 5 starts. He's also not a guy that's going to pitch too deep into games. His pitch count usually gets pretty high early on. Not a guy that's going to strike out a lot of batters either. So this is another game that I'm not crazy about. This is a pretty tough card here on Sunday, but I'm going to lean towards the Marlins' way and take them on the money line. Next up, we see the Cincinnati Reds hosting the Washington Nationals. Patrick Corbin and Luis Castillo are your starters for this one. Now, there's not many times that I would say the Reds deserve to be minus 150 or more, but this is the type of game that I do think they should be, and they're only minus 135 here, so I do think there's some value, at least with the opening line. Probably going to see some line movement go Cincinnati's way, but Luis Castillo's coming off a fantastic outing against the Red Sox. 6 innings, 1 hit, no earned runs, 10 strikeouts, and that's against the Red Sox team that's really hitting lately, especially against righties. So Castillo, very, very sharp performance. And on the other side, Patrick Corbin has not shown me anything this season. Guy who gave up, last outing, 4 1/3, 12 hits, 7 earned runs, a home run to the New York Mets, and a 10-0 Nationals loss. He is 1-8 this season. The Nationals lose a lot of games that Corbin starts in, and this is another game that I think they earn another loss in. I'm going to take the Reds here on the money line at home. Next up, we see the Houston Astros taking on the Kansas City Royals. We're going to see Framber Valdez going up against Jonathan Heasley in this one. I think this is a pitching mismatch that we have on our hands here. Houston top 10 in baseball in team OPS against right-handed pitching, and top 5 in baseball in isolated power against right-handed pitching, while the Kansas City Royals have struggled against lefties, 28th in the league in isolated power against lefties, 28th in the league in team OPS against lefties. So right off the bat, a mismatch there. Framber Valdez has also been the much sharper pitcher, earning some strikeouts as well as of late, which you like to see. 5-2 with a 2.57 ERA. Gets a really good ground ball rate on his pitches. And Jonathan Heasley, not a guy that I'm going to back too often in 2022. Only 10 strikeouts in 19 1/3 innings with 16 walks allowed. So more walks allowed than earned strikeouts by 6. That's very scary. 3 home runs allowed already this season, which is also pretty scary. And all 3 of those home runs came in his last 11 innings with 9 walks to go with it. So Heasley's not pitching well enough. He's facing a very loaded and potent Astros lineup. And Framber Valdez has been super sharp on the mound for Houston this season. This is a mismatch on paper. I'm going to take the Astros here on the run line. Next up, we see the San Diego Padres taking on the Milwaukee Brewers. We're going to see Mike Clevinger and Eric Lauer on the mound for this one. Now, Mike Clevinger making his return to the team after being put on the 15-day IL. He was pitching really well for San Diego in his first 2 starts, or his first 3 starts, I should say. Struggled a little bit against the Guardians, but looked a lot better against the Cubs and Phillies. In his last outing against the Phillies, 5 innings of shutout baseball with 5 strikeouts and only 1 hit allowed, no walks allowed. I like Clevinger in this spot, and I think I like the Padres bats as well, going up against Eric Lauer, who sure has a 2.49 ERA, but has had issues with the home run ball at times this season and in his career. Gives up a lot of sharp contact, and he's facing a Padres lineup that prefers lefties, no doubt about it. They're top 15 in baseball in isolated power against lefties, top 10 in baseball at number 8 in team OPS against lefties. So I think San Diego has some value on him in this spot. Give me the Padres on the money line. Next up, we see the Seattle Mariners taking on the Texas Rangers. George Kirby and Martin Perez as the starters for this one. Now, I got to go with my man Martin Perez. I never thought I would say that, but he has been really good this season. There's no doubting it. I mean, he's got a 1.42 ERA here in his first start in June. Who would have thought this would be the case? Perez is getting outs. He's striking out a decent amount of batters as well, and more of a ground ball pitch to contact guy, but he's limiting home runs, limiting runners on base in general, and he's going up against a rookie here in George Kirby, who was really sharp last time out against the Orioles, but had struggled a little bit before that, giving up 9 earned runs in the previous 10 innings to that start. His ERA is solid at 3.46, but I do think he is susceptible to giving up a lot of home runs. We've seen that already this season in the middle of May, where he gave up 2 to the Red Sox, 1 to the Athletics in that 10-inning stretch. I'm going to take the Rangers here on the money line. We don't have to lay too much juice with Texas in this spot. I think the Mariners are the perceived better team, but I think the Rangers are playing much better baseball. Give me the Rangers here on the money line. Next up, we see the Atlanta Braves taking on the Colorado Rockies. We're going to see Charlie Morton and Ryan Feltner as the starters in this one. This is another tough game for me here in this Sunday card. You know, Charlie Morton just hasn't been good enough for me to want to back him in this spot at a hitter-friendly ballpark like Coors Field. He's given up 8 earned runs in his last 9 1/3 innings, giving up at least 1 home run in each of his last 3 starts. A lot of base hits are being allowed as well with a 1.5 whip. And he's going at Coors Field against the Rockies lineup that hits righties and lefties well at home this season. Not so much on the road, but playing at home, that's where they've had their best success. And Ryan Feltner this season, he misses bats, 20 strikeouts in 17 innings. That's really important when you're pitching at Coors Field. He had his first taste of Coors Field this season, last time out against the Marlins, a team that hits righties really well, and he pitched fantastic against those Marlins. 7 innings, 1 run, and 6 strikeouts in a 7-1 Rockies win. I'm going to take the dog here on the run line, getting the 1.5 runs with Colorado. I think this is going to be a back-and-forth game. Could be a high-scoring one as well, but I'd like to have the 1.5 runs in my pocket when it's all said and done. Next up, we see the Boston Red Sox taking on the Oakland Athletics. Rich Hill and Frankie Montas are the starters here. Now, when I looked at this series and I saw the projected starters for each of these games, this was the game that I said the A's probably have the best chance of winning. That's because they have their ace on the mound, Frankie Montas, who I do believe will be traded at the trade deadline this season. But he's at a 3.2 ERA this year. He's going up against Rich Hill, a lefty. Not only do the A's hit lefties a lot better than they do righties, but Rich Hill has also really struggled lately. His ERA is up to 4.85 now on the season, coming off a start against the Orioles where he got absolutely destroyed. 4 innings, 7 hits, 6 earned runs, and 2 home runs. And the Orioles are one of the worst teams in baseball against left-handed pitching this year. So now you're facing an even better lineup in Oakland on the road here, facing an ace in Frankie Montas. A bad spot for Boston here. I think the A's win this game. I think they're favorites for a reason. Give me Oakland on the money line. Next up, we see the New York Mets taking on the Los Angeles Dodgers. Trevor Williams and Julio Urias are your starters here. The Dodgers are big-time favorites here, but I think it makes sense when you look at this pitching matchup. It's a complete mismatch in my opinion. Trevor Williams has pitched well in the times that the Mets really need him in that starting rotation with the injuries that they have, but going up against the Dodgers and the #1 team in baseball and team OPS against righties, I just don't think this is a good spot for Trevor Williams. And on the other side, Julio Urias, he's had mixed results this season, but still a 2.89 ERA, really strong from Urias. Last time out, he did get hit pretty hard by the Pittsburgh Pirates, but he's facing a Mets lineup that is outside the top 15 in team OPS against lefties and outside the top 15 in isolated power against lefties. I think Urias' offense is going to back him up in this spot. I think this is going to be another higher scoring game, and I'm going to take the Dodgers on the run line and lean towards the over. In our final game of the night, we see the Sunday Night Baseball contest on ESPN between two NL Central rivals, the St. Louis Cardinals and the Chicago Cubs. We're going to see Adam Wainwright and Justin Steele on the mound for this one. Justin Steele's a guy that I do think is pitching better than his ERA suggests, but I also think this is a miserable spot for him. Going up against the Cardinals, the #1 team in baseball and team OPS against left-handed pitching this season, and they're top 10 in the league in isolated power against lefties. Steele has had a big issue with the walks this season. His ERA is at 5.4, and a lot of that's because he's putting a lot of runners on base. 4 walks last time out against the Brewers and only 5 innings of work. He's had at least 2 walks in each of his last 5 starts as well. He struggled mightily against the Reds at Great American Ballpark, and against the Cardinals lineup that crushes lefties, I think he's in trouble yet again. Adam Wainwright doesn't need to toss a gem here for the Cardinals to win this ball game, in my opinion. I just think he needs to give them 5-6 decent innings. I think the bullpen will take care of the rest. I'm going to take the St. Louis Cardinals here on the money line. And that's it. Those are the games for Sunday, June 5th. Hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, don't forget to leave a like and subscribe. And don't forget to put your baseball picks in the comment section below. Again, if you're looking for my best bets, you can find those at Pickdawgz Premium. As always, this is Ron Romanelli. Good luck.